What's my line?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Gung-Fu Super Bros podcast, the #1 podcast for Kung Fu, martial arts, and pop culture. I'm your host.
Martial arts movies? Is it martial arts movies or is it just martial arts?
No, it's Kung Fu, martial arts, and pop culture.
Martial art movies? I guess it is martial art movies.
Right?
Does he never say that, though? That's what he says.
Him. But that doesn't Ivan say it?
No.
Does he? I don't think so.
Okay.
If he did, he got lazy. So, hey, folks, we've started. I am obviously not Ivan. Not only did I take over his thing, but now I'm taking over his spot.
Whoa, territory.
All right.
Invasion.
Obviously, I'm John. We've got...
Oh, wow. Enrique? My name's Enrique. Yeah.
Introduce yourself.
Wow.
And we've got...
What?
Super producer Steven's here.
Guys, listen. I am extremely tired. Halloween was this past Monday. My family and I go hard for Halloween. We made a miniature kid-sized stormtrooper outfit, which I'm happy to say that my nephew won first place at his school.
Nice.
He went in that same town. He went to some sort of little carnival. Didn't win. First prize. You know what? Who won?
Yeah.
An inflatable dinosaur with the tag still on. I call some bullcrap on that.
So this kid's parent must have been like...
He was,
they just picked it up right before?
Literally right before. Like it still had the tag on, man.
Wow.
So...
Inflatables are cool costumes, but they're not winning costumes in my eye.
well, apparently if you go to this town, I'm not going to name the town because that's how little respect I have for them.
Wow.
Yeah, didn't win first prize. And then they went to like a Safe Halloween that normally has a costume contest. Didn't win. Actually, I heard the whole experience was not good. Like normally it's a very big event. This year they charged more and they had less.
The one out at
our museum.
At the museum.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a bummer.
That was a bummer. So this month there's a con in town and we are going to go to that and see if he wins first prize.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm tired. I'm literally tired. Last week I came home after work and I wanted to work on this costume and my hands literally just wouldn't work because I've been cutting foam and sanding, like just a horrible pain.
Really?
Yeah. So and then like I would just work, like 5-6 hours every day after work for the past month, basically. My legs started cramping up because I'm standing up. Dude, I just sat down. I turned on the TV and just watched whatever was on, man.
What'd you watch?
Well, aside from this movie, I've been watching Andor.
Okay.
So I haven't seen this week's episode, but it is an interesting show, and it is not. I don't feel it's a kid show, so it's not like Kid Star Wars, but it's good. I really enjoy this mature take on Star Wars, and like this is the nitty gritty of how the rebellion started, and so I think it's pretty rad to see.
Have you watched any?
What do you think, Enrique? It's too slow.
I gave up on it, dude.
It needs a car.
When did you give up?
He's like 30 minutes in.
No, I watched. I want to say I gave up after episode 2. I think.
Bro, 3.
Oh, you didn't. Yeah, you didn't.
You didn't
get
make it a 3.
Good.
Or what happens in 2 and 3? What happens in 3?
3 is where the police of that planet show up and they start taking over the planet, and then he has to make the decision whether he wants to go to the rebellion or not.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I watched that one. I think the show's beautiful. I just it was a bit slow, so I'm like,
I think that's why they put the 3 out at first, because the first 2 are kind of like background and what are you dealing with, and then that third one starts story.
And it doesn't make it a bad show, and it doesn't make it something not worth seeing. I've been trying to keep up with all these other shows that I just had to put this aside.
Yeah, there's so much to watch, man.
There is. So I've had other stuff I've kind of been enjoying. So I kind of, you only have so much time.
That's it. Literally, you only have so much time.
So then this, unfortunately, Andor was one that because of the slow start, it kind of didn't. It didn't make the list of what I needed to keep up with. So.
Yeah, sure.
But I know it's there, and I'll probably go back.
Well,
It'll probably be cool once you can watch the whole thing.
I feel like I need to represent for Diego Luna because
absolutely,
because like it's very rare, right, to have a Mexican or Latino in these featured roles. It's always Manny's always. He's the narco here. He's the most dangerous man.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I want to see him as the lead. I want to see him as Blue Beetle's dad.
No, yeah, absolutely. I agree. The other thing too is I kept thinking like, I know how the story ends.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but this is a totally different story.
I know.
It gets really good. But I get it because it was kind of a slow start. So I totally get that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to keep up and watch and all that.
It's beautiful though. It's kind of like Rogue One, right?
It keeps getting beautiful.
It's like Rogue One out of the movies. It's so much more beautiful than all the other movies. And the same with this show.
Because it's not tied to what we know. I think it's allowed to be its own show in that universe, right? Which I think is cool.
Which was cool. And I heard the director was saying, like, hey, I don't want to have a robot just to have a robot. I don't want to. I don't want the kid stuff just to have kid stuff. This is
follow
the story
the checklist.
Yeah.
If you're good with it, I will do the show. If not, hey, find somebody else that can fit it.
Yeah.
Because the Obi-Wan show, it has a cute little robot. This one did too, but like it's not his sidekick. It's not, and it's kind of sad. This robot is old and like it's on its last leg.
Literally,
that's on its last leg. Yeah, so it's cool. I
like it too.
That's what when I was in my rheumatoid coma. That's what I was watching.
Yeah.
But I'm excited. I haven't been to the movie theater in a while. Nothing really has excited me.
Do you feel like here lately that we just don't get a lot of big movies in theaters anymore?
No,
it seems like a lot of focus has been on the streaming services.
There's a lot that comes out like every week.
Yeah, because they're all competing for your eyes.
Yeah.
Right. So they're all putting good stuff
for that money
on their services. They want you to watch their service. So
yeah,
it almost seems like there's just nothing left for the movie theaters.
And if I'm going to spend $20-$30 to go to the movie theaters, like I want it to be something good. So Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that.
Yeah.
Avatar, possibly.
Okay, yeah, we have some bangers coming
on
out.
IMAX. Yeah,
on IMAX. Yeah, so we're lucky that we have an IMAX theater. Like it's literally 10 minutes away from my house.
Yeah,
maybe less than that. So yeah, I haven't really been excited. Some news did excite me. I read on the interwebs that finally Warner Brothers and DC EU, the Extended Universe, has their own Kevin Feige or Feige's. James Gunn and Peter Safran are going to be the people that are overseeing the new DC movies. And I was talking with Orozco. I was like, we were talking about this deal, and he's like, hey, so like, what do you think is going to happen? I said, you know what? If anything, James Gunn has brought fun to these movies, and he's brought color to these movies. Not just the visual palette, but it's not the same characters over and over again, right? It's very diverse people. So I'm very excited for the new Superman that has been announced, whatever that's going to be called.
Is Henry Cavill still?
He said he's coming. Yeah, he left The Witcher.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he left The Witcher. He's like, okay, Liam Hemsworth, you are now The Witcher.
Yep.
I'm going to be Superman.
Really? I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
That was us.
That was a big internet news.
Oh, people are hating. They're like, we're not going to watch this show. Again, there's way too much shows, guys, to be so negative about it. Check it out. You might like it. You might not. It might be like Andor for you, right? You're like, oh, this is not my thing. But guess what? There's 30 million other shows now to watch. These banger movies coming out. So
it's cool because there's a lot to like. Witcher is a very period piece, right? Like it's set in that time, and there are a lot of shows that are different period pieces, and then there's lots of current shows. Like it's crazy to keep up with just the amount of variety.
Yeah.
And even like docuseries and documentaries. Oh my gosh, because anybody can make it and put it and sell it now, right? Like there's so much.
And all the services will have their version of that same documentary.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, if I have to hear about Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, dude.
It all came out at the same time.
Yeah.
I started watching, just real quick, the Cabinet of Curiosities. And I did not realize, I suppose I did not realize that it's an anthology series.
Okay.
So it's very much like the first episode, the introduction reminded me so much of like a Rod Serling intro, or more really like a Alfred Hitchcock intro to what the show was going to be. And I loved it. Just that first like
What is that
4
on?
minutes. It was it's on Netflix.
Okay.
And they're coming out periodically. So I think I only seen the first 2, but I think maybe 3 or 4 are out right now.
And this is, excuse me, guys. And this is Guillermo del Toro. I don't know if you heard that on the mic. No, but Guillermo del Toro is the person behind it. So it's him overseeing these stories.
It's very reminiscent of like Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Or
Does he talk? Does he come out?
Yeah, he does the intro, which is why that's the first thing I was like, oh my God, this is so cool.
All right, guys, like, subscribe. I'm out.
Yeah, so I would suggest like if you can watch those, because they've got a bit of that like Alfred Hitchcock Presents and Twilight Zone. They've got a bit of that like horror component a little bit, but they're not necessarily horror, if that makes sense.
Well, no, it's anything fantasy wise.
Yeah,
anything would come out of Guillermo del Toro's mind.
Yeah,
that's cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah. The main show for me here lately has been The House of Dragon.
Oh yeah. See, I never did Game of Thrones, so
yeah.
But I know fans are.
It was really
liking?
Good.
You liked it?
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I enjoyed it a lot. They did something interesting where throughout the first the season's over now, but I think it was a total of probably 10 episodes, 9, 10 episodes. But within those 10 episodes, they did time jumps like twice. Mm-hmm. Where they was the same characters, but they got new actors because they jumped in time so many years. Yeah. And so in the beginning, they start with, like the main actress literally was like in 2 episodes.
And then grew up.
Yeah. In episode 3, she's like 5 years, 6 years older. So they brought in the new actress to take over. And it's like, at first it's a little like, because you're not used to seeing that. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes they just put different makeup on or whatever.
Yeah.
They actually, and they did it with multiple characters. They did it with like mostly the kids, right? Because they're the ones that grow the most, and you can see the difference.
Are the time jumps? Because I've heard people talk. Like I've heard some stuff about that too. Are the time jumps good? Like, do you think it's telling a good story?
Yes. They serve a purpose and it works. But it is a little jarring at first because you're like, oh yeah, it's hard to, because you're used to seeing the same people on screen, especially in one season. You don't expect long periods of time to go by, and usually
over 100 years in
you see the characters grow with the series and with the characters they're playing. Not episode 2, she's 15, and then episode 3, she's 23. Mm-hmm. And now it's like a grown woman playing the same character. Yeah. So it is kind of jarring at first, like, oh yeah, that's her. I mean, it's her, but it's just, it
takes a minute because it's not recognizable.
And they did it multiple, and then they did it again with other characters. Mm-hmm. And it was interesting, but it worked. Everybody was good in it, and it was a fun story, interesting. It ended cool, like with a clip, like where you want to.
Gotcha.
You're looking forward to the next season.
Better than the series finale of Game of Thrones.
Well, yeah, but that's not fair because Game of Thrones. I mean, you're talking about multiple seasons, like amazing seasons, where at the very end it's kind of hard to.
Sure, but this is. I mean, it's
gonna continue.
It's same writers and same universe, no?
Same universe. But it's different makers.
They're like, we don't want those people back.
The guys left and they went to Disney, didn't they?
I think so.
Or HBO? HBO. They're doing something for HBO, the main guys that did Game of Thrones.
All right. Well, there you go.
I forget what they're doing. We can probably find out. But and I also watched before we move on, I wanna talk about a movie I watched today.
What'd you watch, bud?
It's an old movie.
All right. Hocus Pocus.
Super wacky.
Hocus Pocus.
No.
Freaky Friday.
No.
Freaky.
Not freaky.
Invaders from Mars.
You're on the right trail.
What'd you watch? Close Encounters of the
He saw Ernest Scared Stupid.
No.
You don't remember the title of the movie you watched?
I want to see if you guys can guess it.
Oh.
You're on the right track. It's something that kind of takes place in space.
Explorers? Flight of the Navigator?
There's a main female character throughout the whole thing. It's super wacky. It looks super low.
Barbarella.
Yeah.
Did you watch Barbarella?
Wow.
Jane Fonda.
You didn't say super sexy, bro. Come on.
Well, I didn't want to go there directly.
All right.
Because that would have given away
Put her
right
on the
away.
machine.
Yeah, that would have made it too
Put her
easy.
on the machine.
This movie is so trippy, dude.
Yeah, it is.
But I had a good time watching it.
Yeah, it's fun.
I don't know that I liked it, but it was still fun. So that makes sense. That's weird.
Sure, I get that.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. Are they remaking that? I heard.
I think so.
Oh, what?
I don't know.
I think
If only-
Sydney Sweeney's playing Jane Fonda. Yeah.
If only someone had a
See if you can find something on
computer
that
in front of
because
them.
I think it's pretty recent news.
Yeah, but okay. So at this point, it's wacky. But if you think when it came out, how much of a mind f it was.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It's
I
like,
agree.
Put it in the machine. Let's get here. Here's the rifle. Here's this thing.
Yeah, for sure.
When now, like, not to be gross, but kids have these XXX movies on their phones at any moment. So it's not I wonder. I'm more concerned with who is making it. Like, who's the twisted mind?
Right.
Like a James Gunn making a Barbarella, I think would be awesome, right? Like, what is his kind of dementedness bring to this movie?
So she is signed on for a remake, but it has no writer or director yet.
Okay.
All right, that's it,
So
guys.
it's just very early stages, so nobody really knows anything. Wow, I did not know that was being remade. That's funny. Is that why you watched it? Because you saw the news?
Yeah,
And
I
kinda
heard
was like,
somebody
what
else
is
talking
this?
about it, and I know we probably mentioned that someone has, and it was on it was available where I could watch it. Let me watch it. Let me see.
Well, that's awesome.
I feel
it's a trip.
It is.
It's a weird one.
It is. Jane Fonda's so hot in this.
I know.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
Wow.
She's a hot lady.
She and so the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, I so like Xanadu so much more than this.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, Xanadu's got Xanadu. Right? I mean, it's got the jam. It's got that
jam.
That end scene.
Yeah.
It's got
The
Fred Astaire in it.
Yeah.
Gene Kelly.
You are correct.
Gene Kelly,
Hold
yes.
on. That's right, Babu Frick. Yeah, I mean, it is a fun movie. I think they're both fun movies, right? And
They're both fun, yes. If you guys haven't checked these movies out, check them out. It's I mean, don't stop everything you're watching to go watch these. They're but
If you have nothing to do on a Sunday afternoon. Or Thursday afternoon.
I'm glad I know what these movies are now, for sure.
Yeah, right. There's something about having historical knowledge about things, right? Because Barbarella, not as much, I think, but Xanadu certainly pops up in conversations, and you're just like, oh yeah, like it's just one of those.
Who's making conversations about Xanadu?
No, but it just pops up in some places.
I'm talking about Xanadu.
Why'd you even recommend that to me?
I just popped in my head.
Yeah?
That was the day you were like, what should I watch? And he just was like,
Xanadu.
Yeah.
It's a litmus to see how, like, what movies we can throw at you and what movies we can't.
Yeah.
So get ready for next week's movie.
I can't wait.
Oh man! All right, so I feel like it's been a couple long weeks at work, and I had this idea popped in my head. Like, if I had to do a second career, what kind of career? What would I want to do? Or I start thinking back, what job did I have that I would want to keep?
Knowing what you know now.
Yeah, like that business would have gone well. I would tell you, for me, it would not be working for Sears Automotive because, number one, there are no more Sears. Number two, the automotive department was the first one to get cut
But
when they were
maybe if
downsizing.
you worked there, maybe you would have worked your way up to, CEO of that division or president of that division, and you would have turned the whole company around, and maybe there would
Sears
be
would still be
Sears
open and
everywhere.
it'd be popping.
Also, I hate retail and I hate lying to people.
Yeah,
So that I am a horrible salesman
that's a problem.
because I don't want to give you what you don't need.
Yeah.
But
You don't want to
with that
upsell.
honesty, I would get a lot of clients, especially Latino clients, because they're like, oh, you know what? I appreciate it, man. And they would bring in like, oh, aquí está. He's the one that helped me last time. Let's order some rims from him. I hated ordering rims because you would have to call the distributor.
Yeah.
And be like, hey, do you have model 42C in a black? Yeah, with the chrome lug nuts. Okay, yeah. All right. Okay, put down 4, and then they would send it, and they'd give you, all right, like Thursday they'll show up. So, okay, dice que jueves, it'll come on Thursday, and
Did they ever show up on Thursday?
they would. They were really good about that.
Was it a local distributor or maybe down south?
Probably down south,
Yeah.
but with FedEx and UPS, like they would just show up. So
Not that, but anything else?
I don't know. I mean, I worked at a children's museum.
How many jobs have you had
let's
in your
see.
life?
I'm
Not counting like little side jobs that you maybe had in high school or like even during college. You know what I mean? Like full time actual where you're making a living.
I worked for the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay.
I worked very briefly for a children's museum, and I got let go because at children's museum they had corporate sponsors, and then one of the kids that worked there, his parents were corporate sponsors.
Oh, okay.
And so it's like, yo, your kid's being mean. And they're like, no, it's not. My kid would never be mean. Get rid of this brown man right now. And the next day I had no job.
Nice.
So screw you, Chevron.
America.
What else? I worked at Mervyn's, which was a retail store here in America. Which was cool, but like I wanted a cashier thing. They gave me receiving. And receiving is just kind of essentially cleaning out the truck and making sure that stuff is stocked on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And then one day they were like, someone made a mess on the floor. So they're like, you go clean the floor. I'm like, what? Like, that's literally not my job description.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to bring out the jet machine, and I put out a tip jar. Didn't appreciate that.
No, wait. Did you really?
Yeah.
Did you walk over to kitchen?
And get a jar and
I don't know
put
where.
tips on it.
I don't know where that was. Like it was a can, and I just put tips on it. And then,
And then you went to the school supplies and busted out a Sharpie and just made your own sign. And
well, literally it was.
that's funny. Dude.
So giant machine.
I love that you did that.
I'm like, I don't know how to operate this machine, dude. Like,
You put out a tip jar.
I got like a big old scrubber.
Did you get any tips?
Probably. And I remember them just saying, "Hey man, you can't put out a tip jar." I'm like, well, I'm not even supposed to be here, dude. Like, what do you want? I'm gonna clean some mess some kid did. Yeah, and I would have to always push credit, which was fine, but
There's always those little things, right?
people
in
would get
retail.
mad when they wouldn't get credit. Like, they don't understand
That they
how you
didn't
get
get
credit,
approved.
right?
Uh-huh.
And you'd be like, well, and so there was one time a person was like, I have money in the bank. I own so many businesses. I'm like, dude, yeah. Have you paid all of them cash? He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I said, that's why you have no established credit.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. It's not your worth. It's what you're worth to these corporations,
Yeah.
right?
To paying bills every month on time.
Yep.
Yes, but it's the minority mentality. I don't want to have a bill, so I'm going to pay everything cash.
Mm-hmm.
And so again, I hated lying to people. Like, this is why things happen. This is why we do that. And they're like, all right, well, I don't appreciate it. I'm like, well, neither do I, but here we are, bud. Like, I don't know what you want from me. So let's see. It's retail, 2 retail, and then 3 retail. So it's like education or retail that I have.
Okay. So nothing in the past that you would wish you were still doing?
No, I got a chance one summer to work in Escondido. And I was doing a program where I was teaching kids how to make comic books. that was pretty awesome. And I was like, oh, like I would like to actually kind of do that. Just having an independent art class or art center that I think would be pretty awesome. And I would see myself doing that. Like if I were to get a second career, I think it has to be something creative.
Yeah.
Something creative, because
like full-time podcaster.
Well, maybe, but you guys aren't showing us the love with the numbers, guys. I don't know how the movie part got less hits than the talk. Give this movies a chance, guys. That's all I'm saying. Enrique, what's a career you would pivot to or you would go back to?
I've only had two that I would only say I've had 2 jobs in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I had like a summer job, a few summer jobs, but I don't really count those.
Yeah.
Well, not even a lot. I had one summer job. I worked for a furniture store one summer. It sucked ass. I hated it as a delivery guy. Oh, I hated it. And then I worked in the computer lab during college when I lived at the dorms. I don't really count that. And then I worked, so my first summer after my first year of college, I started working for the city. And then I ended up doing that throughout college. And then when I finished school, I got on full time with the city and did that until at one point I did that for about 10 years.
What was that job?
I worked for the recreation department. I started working just out in the field, like softball fields. I would get them ready
just
for games.
Just making sure things were
and clean the restrooms and all that for all the league games every day.
Cool.
And then eventually when I finished school, my boss ended up getting promoted. And so then he promoted me to his spot. So then I was managing the department. And so I did that. Sometime in between there, I quit and started working for a bank because I thought I needed to kind of
do something
different.
That's in that time of life where you're always
like trying to figure out,
is this what I'm going to do?
Yes. And that lasted about, I don't know, months probably. And then I went back. So I guess technically I had 2 jobs during that time, but I say one. And then until I started working for the company I work for now, which I've been with for 10 years now.
Right on.
So, and I got into what I do now by pure accident. Like it wasn't planned. It just kind of happened.
When you moved out here? Or no, because you moved out here for a job, right?
Yeah. So I started working for the company before I came out here. And then that's what brought me out here. Right. So it's been kind of weird. I mean, look, the easy answer for me would be going back and actually putting in the work in baseball, if, try to make that work. But I mean, I don't even know if that would have been possible just because I didn't have people around me that knew that can kind of give me some kind of a heads up to be like, hey, dude, like this is kind of what it's going to take and try to do this, try to do that. And my parents are from Mexico. They didn't even go to my games. Like they didn't.
They're like baseball. No.
Yeah.
It's called soccer.
I mean, obviously that would have been the dream, right? But, so I mean that would be my easy like. Oh,
what you would want to do.
I wish I was a professional athlete, but
yeah.
But who knows? Like I don't know. I would always, to this day, I wish I was some kind of a business owner. That would be the dream, where you work for yourself. But that's, it's always kind of like, for me, it's always like, well, what would that be? What would it be that I would want to do where I would be happy doing?
Hip hop coffee shop. Just saying.
Like I would hate having a retail store because I would hate it's kind of hard because I kind of hate people because people are fucking stupid and annoying.
Sure.
But you love gatherings. I mean, it's ironic.
Yeah. But I would love to work for myself.
No.
So
that's fair.
I don't know.
I get it.
Yeah. I wish we had millions of viewers so we could just do this full time.
That would be awesome. Come on, guys, share with your friends.
Like, subscribe.
How about you? Are you doing your dream job?
I think I probably am.
Don't say it just because.
No, I like.
You mean
so,
two-time teacher of the year?
When I was younger, right? I think we've talked about this where I played school. Like me playing was being a teacher.
Yeah.
So there were times where like I set up the stuffed animals or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I taught them, and then I've had off and on end jobs too, but I've always been a tutor. Even through school, that was one of my paid jobs, was being a tutor. And then when I graduated, like I have a business degree. And I was like, I'm not going to teach. Teachers don't make money. Like the reputation was out there, right?
Yeah.
Teachers don't make money. They're not respected. Like I'm not going to be a teacher. I'm going to go make money doing all this stuff that I do. And it just kind of was a slap in the face. Like you're not business minded. Like I think I'm business minded, but I'm not financial employee minded. Like I'm not going to go sell people stock over Thanksgiving dinner to my family, right? Like I'm not that salesman either. That's just not me.
Yeah.
I'm a helper,
attitude.
right? I like my personality is a helper. I want to help people be better at what they want to do. And so like right away when I graduated college, my boss was leaving.
Yeah.
And so she like, the people in charge there kind of put me in her position. And then, so I did that for a little bit and then kind of just made a name for myself. And one of the deans of the graduate school reached out and was like, you want to run the scholarship program? And I was like, yeah. And so I started that and ran that until the funding was done. And
Right
I would
into the ground.
Funding runs out, right? So, and then I went into teaching. And I think if I wasn't teaching, I would probably still I would love to do the scholarship program.
Yeah.
I would love to run a tutoring center. I would love to run like some kind of school or whatever. So but have my own, like not be in a public school. I would like to have my own.
Yeah.
You already hear too. Donna too. Coming up.
Maybe. If I can get some funding for that. But I can't deny that. That is who I am.
Sure.
And that's me. And I'm happy doing it. So I love it.
That's awesome.
So it would be something in an educated field. I just don't know.
That is the goal, right? To be excited to get up. Maybe excited.
Well,
it's not the right
that are
word.
harder, but
yeah. Excited might not be the best word, but to be proud of what you do.
I do. I am proud.
So that's awesome.
I don't know, dude. I not that I'm trying to do my job, but it's the types of problems that students right now are facing are leaps and bounds from the problems you had in high school, the ones we had in high school. It's like they're existential problems. You know, we're trying to teach the kids math, and the students are like, "Hey, mister, I'm having a hard time at home." I'm like, "Wow, like everything good?" And like, "Yeah." It's like, I feel like my parent is controlling me because they don't have an education themselves, and they don't know that having power with somebody doesn't make you important. And so you're like, okay, well, I'm just trying to teach you math, but like, how do I don't know how to fix the problems. Like, or maybe it's just letting these kids, you know, talk and vent and just listening. But it's like, it used to be like, oh, I have a conflict. I want to go to the school play, but I also got a baseball game to play. We're like, well, you got to go to baseball because then they're not going to let you play. And maybe you can catch the end of the play and see your girlfriend or whatever. Yeah. It's these horrible, like, again, grown up problems that these kids are dealing with. And then you've got teachers.
So do you get a lot, sorry to interrupt,
No.
but do you get, are you seeing kids just willing to just talk about more personal stuff? It seems like more now.
If the kids are comfortable with you and you've fostered an environment where talking about your feelings, your social emotional state is is part of the norms in your classroom. But there are teachers who are like, I'm just a teacher, dude. I don't give a crap.
Yeah.
You know,
you don't ever, they don't let it get to that point.
And then they don't realize that the reason like there's kids wilding out in their classroom is because they never made that connection with them.
Yeah.
And I don't know and to be honest, I don't know which side is better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, did I have teachers that I connect with? Yes. But most of my teachers were these older white guys that went to Vietnam and like they had their own lives.
Yeah.
And it's like, as long as the kids did what you were doing, what you asked of them, you know, they were fine.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like it's difficult. And it's like, how much more difficult are these problems going to get? And how much more of an investment of that heartbreak do I need to go through? Because like I empathize with my students and I truly can't help them in these ways. But the expectation of parents is like, you're going to teach my kid to be well-rounded. But it's like, okay, well, what are you doing? How are you contributing to this pyramid?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it's hard. It popped in my head. Again, I'm not leaving my job. I love what I do. But they're not tough. Kids. They're not kids anymore.
You're right.
Right. There's this innocence that
it's gone.
Is gone. So I don't even know. By fifth grade, is like that innocence gone. Sixth grade, at some point in junior high, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just this weird thing that I thought about. I would say my dream job. I would love to be a Muppeteer. I've every time I get to go hang out with a Muppeteer or see a show, like I am in awe that I'm no longer looking at that person. I'm looking at that puppet, and that puppet is talking to me. And whether it's Kermit or Piggy or Gonzo, or we went at Knott's Berry Farm, they had a show called Puppet Up, where it's an improv show with puppets. Like, again, but something creative.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I wanted to be a cinematographer. Okay. And I feel I have a good eye in photography, for composition, both in my artwork and my photos. But growing up, there wasn't that outlet to do that. If I wanted to show a movie, like this video will get uploaded to YouTube. And guess what? It gets done in a couple hours, realistically. So audio production, video production gets done in a couple hours. And a couple hours just because we're probably goofing around. Yeah. Like in less than an hour, it can have a video up on the internet. Shoot, we can do this live. Yeah. And have it on the internet. Yeah. But that didn't exist when I was trying to go to grad school to become a cinematographer. There was no YouTube. If I shot a movie, I would have to then pay thousands of dollars to get it transferred to video, because that's the only way a film festival would look at my stuff. Right. And at that point, it's like, when you're a poor kid from Central California in a rural community, like $2,000 would have been $2 million. Like, how do you get, how many car washes and tamale sales do we have to do to raise those $2,000? And so it felt impossible. Right. And so you kind of, after the rejection letter started coming in, you're like, maybe I should find something else to do. So I don't know. That's just me going through this existential thing, like this middle life crisis moment. I'm like, shoot, like how much more time do I have in me for this? Yeah. Right. How much more time do you have? And I guess honestly, it's the idea of mortality has just gotten in my head right now. It's like, how many more sunshines do I get to, or sunsets or sunrises do I get to see? Right, with the people you know, with friends, with family, with my robot here. He's a cut up.
He's laughing at you.
He's nice. He gets a little tipsy. All right, guys. So we're gonna pause it there. If you are watching this on a Monday, subscribe. On next Wednesday, we will have the movie portion of this. Yeah. If you are listening, we're just hold on to this ride. But subscribe. Where can they find us on the internet?
They can find us Instagram, In one place, if you go to one place, you can find all of our links. Go to our link tree, linktr.ee/Gung-Fu Super Bros.
Yep.
And
that's where you say it.
They can call us.
And they can call us, Abarca, at a phone number, which is...
They can go 661-401-5941. Again, if you want to leave a message and you are incarcerated, I'm not going to pick up, guys.
Are we still getting those calls?
I haven't checked in a while, but I was like, hey, Miklo wants to talk to you. And you're like, I don't know. No, I'm good. He says you want money. I was like, no, I don't. Or guys, go to www.gungfusuperbros.com. You can leave us a voicemail. Don't forget to rate, review, or leave us a comment on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts. New episodes on Monday and Wednesday. So
this
folks,
Wednesday, you can hear us talk about our movie Unleashed.
Yep.
With
starring
Mr.
Donnie Yen and Eddie Valiant himself, Bob Hosking.
Jet Li.
Damn it! I was like, did I watch the right movie?
There's no Donnie Yen cutie in this one. This is the Jet Li cutie.
That's right, Jet Li
in a not cute role.
Yes. All right, guys. So, mahalo.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys.
For now.
Bye for now.